First exercise is a child's pose and wide cobra hybrid. We're going to alternate back and forth between two poses. We're going to start with that child's pose. We're with our knees wide on the mat, big toes touching, and we're going to pull those hips back away from the hands. The palms press into the earth and away from each other. And then we're going to move through into the cobra, pulling the heart through the arms as the elbows hug the side body. And make sure you squeeze the glutes and press the tops of those thighs into the mat as you do that cobra pose. I know that for me it helps protect that low back. And the key here is just to find your own rhythm with using your breath. Whatever feels good to you as you move through these two poses, that is your flow. You have full permission to make it yours. Just the fact that you are here moving is an awesome start. So you're doing great. Next exercise is a straight arm crossbody pull down. So you can either have a seat or you can kneel down like I am here. You're going to raise one arm up and get that thumb facing down towards the opposite side front pocket. And the opposite arm is going to grab just above the wrist and very gently pull it down. So your job here is to try and hold that arm up and resist while the opposite arm overcomes the force. And so you're basically doing a tug of war with yourself here. You want to be gentle with these muscles. We're stretching out the shoulders, the upper traps, and if you're turning your head or twisting it like I am here in this video, just to get a little bit further into the neck muscles. So again, play around with it, make this exercise yours, and be gentle with yourself. It's not necessary to crank on your arm to get the benefit of this exercise. All right, so just a little bit of force just to activate it, and then you're going to overcome that force with the opposite arm. And the more important thing, more than anything here, is to relax and breathe. Big deep breaths into the chest, into those side ribs, and get to know your body, get to know those muscles. And just trying out different exercises, things that you might not normally be used to, just to get to know your body a little bit differently. So we are actually stretching the muscles here as well as strengthening. A little double whammy action going on here. So you're doing fantastic. Nice deep breaths, nice and easy. It doesn't have to be anything crazy strenuous, just enough to activate. Awesome job. All right, we're going to switch it up here. We're going to get into lunge position, and you're going to grab on the opposite side elbow. And again, similar to the exercise we just did, you're going to resist yourself from twisting by trying to pull that elbow away, and the opposite arm is going to pull you across and over that front thigh. So we're activating obliques, and we're also stretching out that shoulder in a slightly different way. And feel free to place something under your knees if you need a blanket just to protect your knees. You're doing fantastic. And what really helps me here with this exercise specifically is also squeezing the glutes as I'm driving that lunge forward. I'm pressing that knee and into the earth. So we want to activate the front of those thighs, the front of those hip flexors as we're driving forward in that lunge. Beautiful. We're going to grab on that outside elbow again and pulling your body over and across that front thigh as you're pulling the front thigh, that back thigh into the earth. You're going to feel the front of the thigh muscle, the leg muscle, as well as the hip flexors light up. Nice and easy. Remember to breathe. Beautiful job. I like to keep the toes down and planted on that back foot, but feel free to lower the toes as well if that feels better for you in that lunge. Whatever works for you. You're doing fantastic. Remember to breathe. Awesome. We're going to switch it up now. And we're going to get into a kneeling position. Again, place something under your knee if you need it. The trick with this is, just like I'm trying to show you here, even though I know it's a voiceover, I'm talking to you through the video, you're pressing that heel into the earth, and that thigh, you want to open up the back of the knee by squeezing the thigh. And what I'm actually doing here, if you look, I'm windshield wiping the foot to the outside and then windshield wiping it into the inside as I'm pressing that heel into the earth, and I'm leaning forward, and that's going to open up the back of those hamstrings, as well as work the rotators through the hips. And I'm motioning to the thigh to make sure you're activating that thigh. The more you squeeze the thigh, the more we open up the hamstrings. It's called some reciprocal inhibition. So if we squeeze the opposing muscle group, the other side will open up and give you a little bit more length as you're strengthening here. So again, we're going to kneel, place something under your knee if you need it, bring that heel into the earth, and I'm trying to show you here with my hands, you're going to turn the foot in and then out, internally, externally rotating from the thigh. So feel that thigh bone in that hip socket actually do the turning from there as opposed to turning from the foot. That'll automatically turn your foot, and we'll get those rotators as well as that hamstring. Squeeze the thigh, and you can lean forward as much as you need. You don't even have to lean as far as I am. You'll notice one side for me is usually a little bit tighter than the other, but you don't have to go down as far as I am. The bigger thing would be to turn and rotate that thigh and squeeze the muscles through the front part of that leg there, and that'll open up those hamstrings. All right, we're gonna clasp and clasp behind your back. And I like to do this kneeling. You can also do it standing if it doesn't feel good for your knees, but I like to do this with a little bit of a hip extension. So I'm going to clasp the hands, pull the hands back and down my back as I'm opening up that heart and opening up through the hips by squeezing the glutes. So it's a little bit of a wave, a little bit of a hip flexion and hip extension. So we're opening up the front body and then collapsing everything down. So I'm trying to look at my belly button as I'm coming down into that bowing position and then opening up that heart. So we're also flexing and expanding through the back and the chest. Beautiful job. And if you can, you want to stretch those hands down towards the floor. All right, we're switching it up. This is it. Last exercise. We're going to go into that child's pose with wide knees, wider than the mat if you can. And we're going to go over to one side, press into the earth, and then walk it over to the other side. Press into the earth. We're opening up through that armpit area, through that upper side body. I love how I know it's a voiceover and I'm talking to you and motioning for you to press into the earth. You're doing fantastic. Make sure you're breathing, inhaling as you come up and exhaling as you go down, or whatever rhythm of breath works great for you, whatever works. All right, and I'm also leaning a little bit first. So as I'm stretching over to my right side, I kind of lean into my left, and then opposite side, leaning in the opposite direction so my body looks like a C. And that's it. Shake it off. You did amazing. Give yourself a little pat on the back like I'm doing here. Celebrate. That's so important. And we'll catch you on the next reboot.